Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be looking at what are their potential actions towards you and when. There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Emerald, along with these cards. Group 2 is the Mahogany Obsidian, along with these cards. And group 3 is this piece of Beryl, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Emerald, along with these cards, which I'll start with to get kind of a general overview about what are their potential next actions towards you and when. We have Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. Intimacy. And Tree of Life, fertility, creativity, destiny, magical blessings. So it definitely feels like with this energy of the Tree of Life and these branches, these limbs that are kind of reaching up toward the sunshine, this can indicate a message that comes in from afar, somebody reaching out to you, perhaps after having taken some time to really contemplate and reflect on circumstances in their life, where they're at in general, some goals that they may have for the future, a horizon that they want to work towards, a sense of really missing you, feeling that you might be the perfect person to sort of join them on this adventure towards those horizons, a desire to have a family with you or to blend your families if the two of you maybe already have children from other relationships. But this can be, again, this message from afar, either a long distance connection, so somebody reaching out to you across a great distance, perhaps something online, so not necessarily a face-to-face contact at first, but a text message or an email. Or this can also really talk about somebody who you've been in separation from for quite some time. So time literally is that distance, but that there has been growth and there has been evolution in that period of time. This idea of swan spirit also ties into this transformative energy. Somebody who has really been thinking about the connection while the two of you have been apart. The time has not been in vain. This space and the distance between you has not been wasted. This watery energy in the reference for time for a deep dive, this aquatic energy of the swan, as well as this bathtub here on the intimacy card, can talk about, a deep and emotional conversation, a revelation of how they're feeling on a level that may have not been accessible before. This could have been somebody who was very emotionally avoidant before. A lot of things that were triggered within them, wounds from the past, maybe even things from childhood or stemming from their family or their lineage, kind of a circumstance that they grew up in that had left a lasting impression upon them. And knowingly or unknowingly, circumstances or factors or even vibrations in this connection in the past may have caused them to kind of retract or recoil. But this is the energy of circling back around, wanting to work through those issues together, wanting to return to this closeness, this intimacy that you once shared. This can also, again, really tie into this very emotional declaration that they make that may be uncharacteristic for them, but really is indicative of a lot of progress that they have made, a lot of evolution. There's this, this energy of fertility. This is a very ripe energy at this point in time for the two of you to really take this connection to the next level, to really touch upon some difficulties, triggers within both of you, to make a lot of progress as far as clearing the air between the two of you, coming to a deep understanding of one another, both sort of some factors that affected this situation in the past, as well as the ways in which you have each individually grown and really sort of taken home the lessons from these experiences in the past and utilizing that wisdom to be able to plan for the future as far as where you both see or envision or are interested in investing in really building this connection toward. So this is a very positive energy. It's a very, it almost feels like the energy of somebody who is blushing. There's a warmth here. It may be something where it's very endearing what they say to you when they reach out, or just the energy that they come towards you in. It feels very innocent, very humble, and if things were very complicated before, there's a stillness to this. There's a seriousness, almost wanting to just hold one another, to hug one another and allow those heartbeats through each of your chests to do the communication for you. Tears may be shed in this circumstance on your part or on their part, but it feels like tears of joy, a joyful reunion, or things that, had been very harrowing between the two of you in the past, sort of this time and distance apart, really kind of crystallizing the lesson for this person, especially that while they may have run from you previously, there is now this desire to move back in your direction, kind of an energy of coming in very humbly to see, can we start again? How do we grow from here? How do we move beyond? Wanting to cooperate, wanting to work together to overcome the hurdles that you had faced in the past, and to really chip away at sort of the heaviness that developed, the confusion, the unanswered questions, this longing, this pining for each other from afar, in order to kind of, ascend and grow in this connection and reach this place of homeostasis with this yin-yang symbol here on this tree, a desire to work toward that, to move toward that, as opposed to, continuing to kind of remain in this sort of dark and dense energy of where the connection has been up to this point or recently. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little more clarification about this for you, group one, and see if there's any more that comes out as far as their potential actions, and then also looking a little deeper into the timing of that. Okay, so we have the Five of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Eight of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Five of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Strength, which is Leo. Ace of Pentacles, so more earth energy. And Three of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So this Ace of Pentacles definitely confirms some kind of a message, communication after a period of time, moving out of this energy of defeat and loss with the Five of Swords. Really somebody who's making the effort to touch back upon these circumstances between the two of you, to discuss these things, to work these things out very mutually, not wanting to remain going forward into the future with this heaviness or this uncertainty. There can be declarations that it has really stuck with them, the last interaction between the two of you, or that you have remained on their mind during this period of separation and silence. And so they're coming forward to you with this very practical ability with the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles to want to work on things, to want to rebuild this connection, clear the air between the two of you. This is not somebody who's going to try to avoid the difficulties with the energy of defeat and loss with the Five of Swords, and then also this idea of mourning and loss with the Five of Cups, kind of a double confirmation there, that they have felt very lost without you. There has been almost a void of peace in a certain way within themselves. This has been a circumstance which has been very heavy upon their heart. It has weighed heavily upon their mind, and they are moving into that energy of wanting to reach out to do something about that. This Three of Wands is again that confirmation of somebody reaching out from afar, from a distance, either a distance of time, like it has been a long time since you have dealt with this person, or since whatever this circumstance was that kind of pivoted you into a no contact circumstance. This can also be somebody who literally lives at a distance from you, who is, planning and strategizing and making that move from afar. This can talk about online communication, virtual communication, text message, email, direct message on social media. And this is also an energy of planning for a new horizon, working toward the future, going to great lengths to rewrite the story between the two of you, to transmute and move out of this energy of loss and defeat, which has been a major theme for them. This is what's been kind of circling around and bubbling beneath the surface in kind of this time apart between the two of you. And with strength, this ties in also to that element of wanting to achieve some kind of balance here, somebody who's facing that fear. And that can really attest to kind of that energy of being very humble, coming forward very, very directly, very simply, because there's a little bit of fear. They're feeling some guilt and some shame about whatever had taken place in the past, or for allowing wounds of their past, or even kind of things that were templated in them from their family or their culture, or their upbringing, for allowing that to kind of interfere with the feelings that they have, these deep emotions for you. Wanting to come forward very directly, very simply, starting from scratch, an idea of the need to kind of rebuild this connection in a more solid way, in a more reliable way, almost tiptoeing through this energy, very cognizant of the fact that although there's been some recognition of what had been triggered within them previously, there's been some effort and work on their part to balance these things out, to come to a place of acknowledgement and resolution as much as possible with that. There's also this kind of fear and hesitation of maybe looping back around into those same cycles of being triggered, not wanting to advance too quickly, not wanting to dive in too deep too soon, but needing to take things very slowly and very gradually. This can also really allude to somebody who does come forward in a very intense energy. It may be something where they've been thinking about this for a while, and something almost just sort of impulsively sort of projects them forward to you, to where it's this grand declaration, or even what you are sensing and feeling energetically, this big wave of emotions coming from them, but then they sort of restrain themselves a little bit. So kind of this, this gust, this is almost this burst of fresh air, which then needs some time to kind of settle. And so kind of that initial, deep dive, that initial, intimacy can almost be followed by a little bit of a tempering. It doesn't feel like a full pulling back from this circumstance. They may come in very kind of strong and unexpectedly, but then things kind of settle down, and it's this gradual wading through these emotions. It's a wading through kind of these difficulties that the two of you have faced, a very delicate kind of subject matter, treading into territory within each of you emotionally and subconsciously and psychologically, which may be very difficult to talk about. And so there's this effort to be very consistent and yet very meticulous in that, kind of piece by piece to work through all of it. But this does speak strongly to the element of communication. And I'm kind of drawn to all of this watery energy in terms of timing, because we've got, again, that water element with the swan, the water in the bathtub, and then the water here in the Five of Cups. And water energy, it's not the slowest moving energy in the deck. That would be the Pentacles energy, this earth energy, which also ties in with that idea of the tree of life, and kind of how the tree just gradually, grows year by year, and it goes through these cycles. So with that combination of these two elements here, this earth element, this very slow moving energy, and also what can be kind of the flood and rush, but the consistent and gradual push of watery energy, that it feels like this person may still be a little ways out on the horizon for you. They may pop up very unexpectedly, very unpredictably, almost kind of without warning, but at the same time, kind of the progress forward in this circumstance to sort of moving through those difficulties and rebuilding something, or really clearing the air between the two of you. This can be a very gradual process, something that's very progressive. It does show that they apply a lot of effort and consistency to that, which is a very positive sign, as opposed to just kind of rushing in and rushing out. They may pull back a little bit, but there's a consistency. They keep showing up, even if it's in a little kind of hesitant or sort of a timid energy, kind of a cautious energy, but there's this regularity, there's this consistency. It's not hot and cold like it might have been before. There's nothing here that really indicates someone who comes back in only to just kind of ghost and close things off again. But they might kind of rush forward and just sort of temper or sort of pull themselves back a little bit. So in terms of timing, it's really, again, this element of very unexpectedly, that unexpected kind of rush, or like the ground giving way, and all of a sudden they are, reaching forward, and this very, something that they've been thinking about, they've been working up toward, and that decision is just very kind of like one day they wake up, this is the day, and then they reach out. So it might be something you're not even necessarily able to really pinpoint or anticipate energetically. You may feel that kind of buildup, that energy of growth through all of that. This is really tying in, though, a lot with springtime energy for me. So just depending on what part of the world you are in, obviously spring can be, happening at different periods of time. If you're in the southern hemisphere, I believe you guys are currently kind of at the end of spring. You're getting ready to kind of tiptoe into summer. And then here in the northern hemisphere, where I am, we are kind of at the tail end of autumn, getting ready to move into winter. So spring is still a few months away. So I think that best describes kind of this idea of it could be very soon to, several months, like 6 months from now. But this is not something that is, far off on the horizon. It's just kind of, take it as it resonates. But this definitely feels kind of like it's definitely that energy of sort of that early spring energy, those first kind of green shoots that are coming up after this period of dormancy and quiet and cold. But it's something where, it's this gradual growth. It's not just all of a sudden, the world is green and things are growing and it's springtime. It's something that happens very suddenly, very unexpectedly, but it takes some time to kind of fully move into that. So again, that timing, it can be anywhere, it feels like, from the next next kind of month or two, all the way to about 6 months at the outside. So something that is building. This person's still in kind of this chrysalis energy of really reflecting, doing a lot of that internal growth, thinking very heavily about what has happened in the past and where you guys are at currently in this circumstance. It's something that's weighing very heavily upon them. And somebody who's maybe doing some internal work as well to identify these patterns within themselves, these habits, in the process of creating balance. So the fact that this is not an immediate communication, it does not feel that that's at a detriment to this circumstance, that you want this person to come back to you in this energy of internal balance within themselves. If they were to come back too soon, it just feels that there's a lot that needs to be touched on. There's a level of depth and intimacy and emotion that had kind of freaked them out before, that they need to come into more of a place of being comfortable with that within themselves, for themselves, before they're able to present something measurable and lasting to you. So I'm going to get a few messages from their higher self and see what do they want you to know at this point in time. Okay, and they say, please, or I'm sorry, just wait on me. Please don't give up on me. So there are no coincidences. So me saying please at the very beginning of this card is, again, it ties in with that idea of, the energy that they will come back in, very open, a very receptive energy, this energy of surrender, this humbleness. They are really looking back and reflecting upon actions that were taken in the past to move away from you, to move away from this connection, seeing that a lot of that was stemming from something, within their shadow, unaddressed distortions within themselves. And it's this idea, again, of wait on me, don't give up on me. Again, it doesn't feel for most of you like this is someone who will turn up tomorrow in your inbox or at your door. It's still a little ways out on the horizon. They're still in this cocoon phase within themselves. But there is a sense of urgency that is building, that is almost that momentum that is pushing them through that threshold of silence into action. The more that they're coming into this clarity within themselves, this, kind of the grand reimagining of their life or horizons that they're working towards. And they're seeing this connection with fresh eyes and elements that had really maybe been overlooked by them before. They're starting to value that, seeing you as somebody they would want to partner with, that they, want to kind of create this closeness with. And time being a little bit of the essence, it feels that this person understands they can't sort of allow this situation to just sit on hold, or to, the energy to remain as it has been indefinitely, but action is required at some point in time, and they're still just kind of working up that courage to do something about it. And they also say this whole twin flame stuff sometimes scares me. So they may be doing a lot of searching, doing a lot of research, looking into soul connections, and may have even come upon ideas of twin flame that are starting to resonate, starting to make sense with them. Kind of the archetypes of that dynamic being, again, this element of kind of a deeply triggering situation that brings up a lot of fears from the subconscious, a lot of shadows. Periods of separation are necessary so that people can do this individual growth on their own, in order to come back in kind of this more mature energy, this clarified energy within themselves. So that ties in really well to kind of what is going on now in this process. This person kind of sifting through the ashes, sifting through the rubble that is remaining, kind of in the aftermath of this ignition between the two of you, this deep and affecting connection on both the energetic and emotional levels, the time apart having not been in vain, a lot of fears as well that they have been facing and that they are working through, that it's very necessary prior to coming forward to you. They also say, I'm afraid of commitment. So this can tie into kind of the intensity that spooked them previously and caused them to pull away. Things were going really well, and it was almost outside of their comfort zone. And so they may have taken measures to sabotage that, to self-sabotage. And they're coming into that deep awareness within themselves of a distortion, maybe something lingering from childhood, someone who's the product of a divorce, or Somebody who had, a very substantial loss and heartbreak in their early kind of romantic life that they just never got over. They vowed never to love again or never to allow anyone that close to hurt them in such a way. And it has really, for a while, maybe operated very effectively as a self-protective mechanism, but they're starting to really recognize how that has, in this instance, really inhibited their ability to experience wish fulfillment or a positive experience of love and romance, which this connection represents. They also say jealous and possessive. So this can again tie to that energy of motivation and kind of the just wait on me, please don't give up on me. There is this urge to do something about this, to not just let this indefinite amount of time kind of carry on, this fear that somebody else will kind of make you the object of desire. Maybe you're getting a lot of attention from other people and they are either sensing this energetically, or it may be something they are noticing if they are watching you on social media, for example. And there's this feeling of wanting to lay claim to you, wanting to make you theirs, wanting to kind of create that energy of closeness between the two of you, so that they do not allow this situation to slip even further through their fingers than it has already. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you about this situation. Okay, and we have protect what you love. It is your duty and responsibility. So this is really guidance when this person returns to you, to recognize all of the work that you have done on yourself and that you are continuing to do to really pick up the pieces from this situation, step into your full power, step into that energy of abundance, being open and receptive to what they have, to say, entertaining that, open-minded to the possibility that they have grown, they've evolved, and they have changed. But at the same time, being mindful that you don't, fall back into those old patterns and habits, maybe of enabling or codependency that could have been sort of a circumstance between you in the past. There again, maybe things that are really triggered between the two of you in the aftermath of them reaching out and moving forward towards you. And so again, to greet them with kind of this, this openness where you are willing to listen to what they have to say, but remembering the boundaries that this circumstance up to this point has really encouraged you to establish for yourself, holding fast to those. You've raised the standard, you've raised the bar, you've raised your vibration in some way, and it's now up to this person to rise to meet that, to rise to the occasion. So continuing to stay in that place of integrity within yourself, remembering this journey, remembering what it took to come to the place that you are now, and keeping sight of goals that you are working toward. And, it remains to be seen if this person comes back and is able to kind of meet you and join you at that place on this journey going forward. Or if it's something where, perhaps then more time is required, more work within themselves is required, or potentially even the two of you in this distance, in this separation, have in fact grown apart. You may desire other things at this point. You may have different goals and motivations, and it's important to honor those things, to protect that. Just because you two had a very intense history, even if you consider this person your twin flame, that doesn't mean you automatically just need to take them back into your life and that this has to be the forever person. Opening up to that possibility and the reality, if it resonates for you, that, this connection, the purpose of it may have just been to deeply transform the two of you into the most authentic versions of self necessary to reach some goals that your soul set out to accomplish in this lifetime. This circumstance with this person, when they reach out, may be a great opportunity for closure. Perhaps the two of you establish a friendship with one another, or a different layer or level of this connection can reveal itself to you at this point in time that might be different, or just a further development of what you had originally or in the past anticipated was kind of the purpose and intention of this person in your life. So I'm going to get some initials now, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got V, P, H, D, Z, N, O, Y, and F. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings. I have just recently brought back written readings, and I also offer channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Mahogany Obsidian along with these cards, which I'll start with to get kind of a general overview about what this person's potential next actions towards you might be, and anything on timing that comes through at this point. And we've got Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch. Emotional freedom. And Sacred Earth Mother, a message of love. So right there with a message of love, that is a definite and obvious confirmation of communication that may be incoming for you. This energy that is very freeing with emotional freedom, that offers a lot of explanation, maybe to unanswered questions. It provides you with some kind of vindication, some kind of assurance, either that a misunderstanding between the two of you can be worked through. This may prove to kind of confirm what you have been picking up through readings that you've been watching, maybe even personal readings that you've gotten, or just kind of a vibrational sense within you that despite what was said or done in the past, that this person still holds a lot of love for you, deep feelings for you, and that the interest in kind of continuing this connection or developing this connection or freeing each other from kind of this, this wintry energy here, this icy energy, this kind of stalemate, this complete silence, kind of the barren period, the fallow period in this connection, that it is very mutually felt. This can be a confirmation as well of a lot of signs that you have been receiving, maybe things that have been coming through in dreams, as sort of a prelude to this person with this idea of the Earth Mother, this very practical energy, this grounded energy, this real-time 3D real world energy and action moving forward, that it takes things out of the realm of just telepathy and energy, and there's something that is done in a concrete sense with that. This energy of deer spirit, this is a very quiet energy, it's a very gentle energy, and it is also a very vigilant energy. So this person may come forward very timid towards you. It could even almost initially be a little bit kind of tense between the two of you when they reach out, both of you kind of on guard. It's bringing to mind this idea of Nine of Wands, that wounded warrior, and kind of the battles that the two of you have faced and sort of overcome internally in the aftermath of this separation, or something that may have occurred that kind of put you both at a distance, putting up these walls or boundaries. This could have even been somebody who just very abruptly ghosted you and blocked you in the past. And so they're not really sure how to kind of come back in. They're very cognizant of the fact that you have your boundaries up, you have your guard up, that it's not so easy to just re-enter your world, to re-enter your life. This is almost this idea of like a slow thaw that may be necessary in this circumstance. They are also very cognizant of some tendencies within themselves, thinking back a lot on kind of what had happened in the past, and so wanting to tread very lightly into this circumstance with you. So it may be something where, you just very abruptly, the communication, your number, your social media account, your email address is unblocked, and you get just like a one sentence or even a one word kind of, "Hi, hey, how's it going?" Something of that nature, where it's not immediately leading into this big long paragraph, this big novel of, this is what I've been thinking and feeling, and I regret this and I want to do something different. But it's this very kind of direct tap upon the energy that it's almost the idea of kind of with like an ice pick, and kind of this block of ice, or sort of like an ice sheet over a frozen pond, and just making that tap that kind of sets out that splintering, that crackle, to where that solid energy of silence between the two of you, that's broken. But that it's going to take some time to kind of work down through all those layers, that very thick silence that has developed between the two of you. But it again might be something that comes in very abruptly, very suddenly. It doesn't get to a whole lot of depth of emotion. A lot of that with the idea of emotional freedom, and again, kind of the snowflakes and these glaciers in the ice, it feels that a lot of that is still beneath the surface. So what you are really shown, what is displayed to you, is just it's that initial and direct point of contact, where the two of you then have to tread kind of very lightly with each other, sort of maneuver through this, maneuver around this, that it will take some time to kind of bring down those walls, bring down that guard and that barrier. But it's a very significant shift in this connection of, again, pulling away from kind of this wall of silence, this ice wall that has been between the two of you, and stepping more into that energy of warmth, picking your way through that, kind of chiseling your way through that bit by bit. It may be almost very platonic, very kind of surface level or business. This may even be somebody who reaches out to you with some kind of news about somebody mutually, just a very, hey, just to let you know this happened with so-and-so. It might be that, where it's very abrupt. You haven't talked to this person in a while, and all of a sudden they're, informing you about something. It feels to be, if that's the case, a very kind of significant, not just someone who's reaching out to gossip or, kind of talk about somebody you knew from the past, but almost passing that news along, like, I don't know if you heard, but this happened to so-and-so. And so that can, again, be that very just direct kind of pinpoint that sort of shatters that silence between the two of you. But it's not immediately jumping back into this realm of like the ooey gooey love between you, although with this heart right here, it feels that even them kind of reaching out, it displays a level of care towards you, kind of as the conversation, the back and forth continues, those walls kind of melt, that guard is brought down, more and more of kind of feelings are discussed. that's able to kind of pulsate through. You're able to really feel that. You're able to really sense that, mainly in the form of, this real world, real time exchange between the two of you, that it almost brings online or turns the volume up on what has been a current of energetic exchange that has persisted through this silence between you. That when you are actually exchanging words, when you're exchanging energy, if the two of you then see each other after this, maybe it's some kind of an event, something they make you aware of, that you will attend and that they attend to. And when you kind of make that physical contact with one another, and again, there's this timid energy, there's a little bit of guardedness with that, but the chemistry between the two of you, it's still very palpable. It's still very real. It's almost more profound than it had been in the past, which is this the element of uncertainty as well. Like, is it still there? Is that spark still there? And it proves to almost be confirmed that yes, it is. After this time, after what has happened, that remains, and it almost serves to kind of reinforce for the two of you kind of the inevitable point that you are at. This idea as well with the kind of the owl and this wisdom. It reinforces very gradually and in certain ways very immediately that this was the wise choice, to not just continue to remain in that energy of distance and silence, but to reach out, to make those efforts, to go the distance, to go to the lengths that are necessary, to kind of continue to chisel through this, to continue to kind of uncover and lean into and really acknowledge within yourselves kind of this very pervasive, this very distinct and profound bond that the two of you share, that time and space and circumstance has been unable to fully extinguish between the two of you. So very immediately also with, again, all this kind of wintry scene, depending on where you are in the world, in the northern hemisphere where I am, we are about a month out from the official start of winter, which is on December 21st, the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, which after that point, the days start to get longer, the sun starts to return, things start to get brighter, which is a very fitting analogy for this, kind of that ground zero point that things just very gradually kind of lean in that direction of warmth, returning to this connection. So winter time may be very significant for when this person returns to you. If you're in the southern hemisphere, let's see, you guys are just about to enter into summertime, so winter can feel pretty far away. And so this can even just tie into that same kind of vibration of, in the not too distant future, something very profoundly might come in that just sort of cracks open that silence between you. But again, it's this gradual kind of leaning into that warmth. It's that gradual kind of like bringing down the barriers and walls between you. So I'm going to get some tarot to get some more clarification about their potential actions towards you and some more information on timing. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The Moon, which is Pisces and Cancer. The Tower, which is Aries. Eight of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Ten of Pentacles, so more Earth energy. And the Knight of Cups, so more water energy. So this idea of the moon and the tower, this really confirms that idea of kind of these hidden feelings, that undercurrent of emotion that still exists, this connection, this bond between you on the spiritual level, that it still persists in the distance. And it's something with the tower where there's that confirmation of that through that breaking of the ice, through that penetrating of the barrier between the two of you, that it's very shocking. It's very sudden when this person kind of reaches out. This can also tie into, again, something, information that they may be presenting to you with the moon, some bit of news, informing you about something. This may even be with the Tower for some of you, kind of an incident related to loss, maybe somebody who has passed away, some kind of a dire circumstance that has occurred for someone. It doesn't feel to be related directly to this person, but it almost feels like sort of somebody that you two knew in common, some bit of information that they become aware of, and they're kind of the one to kind of reach out and let you know. So it might be very shocking what they tell you, both shocking in them reaching out and shocking in the nature of what they have to tell you. The Six of Pentacles is also, again, this energy of giving a piece of information, passing on some news, sharing news, not in the realm of gossip, but like something very tangible and fact-based, something very profound, maybe something that you were working toward, or a disappointment, a door that had closed between you or for you in the past, that this person informs you, hey, this is now available, this is now an option. I just heard about this and I thought of you, and it seems like it would be the perfect fit, maybe something in terms of kind of a professional opportunity, something you've been working toward, or had been working toward in the past, or was kind of a dream that you had that maybe had fizzled out, or life had taken you in other directions. Or again, this can also talk about something they give you in terms of news, maybe news that is very shocking, or news with this this element of the scales here on this card. Something that is very vindicating for you, something which brings you a sense of peace and a sense of closure and a sense of resolution. Maybe in terms of, hearing from this person, getting that confirmation that, they still think about you, that this silence, this glacial silence between the two of you will not continue on forever. It's reassuring to see that they are willing to at least open those lines of communication and work toward something together in the future, or even just based on the nature of what they tell you, what they present to you. It could be some form of closure, something that had been kind of unfinished business, something that had been a slight, some way in which you were wronged, maybe by another person, and what they share with you really balances that out to where you feel like justice has been done. This other person, maybe karma has repaid them in some way. This can also really tie into, just even something they share with you about themselves, that you feel that, the circumstances between the two of you, that this hasn't gone unrectified, that in some way this person has really, had to kind of sit in that devastation or that loss of what they put you through, that it has been something which has been to their benefit. They have grown from this. They've evolved from this. This has not all been for nothing. This pain and the difficulty the two of you have faced. With this idea of Eight of Cups, this is moving on from a difficult emotional situation. It's a gradual progression. It's a turning of the back on kind of the previous energies that the two of you had been in. Kind of this idea of actively turning that page so that water can be under the bridge, a desire to move in a new direction. So they may come towards you in a changed energy. Again, this timid or guarded sort of energy, the two of you very guarded with each other. And so it may be this gradual progression, this kind of commitment that the two of you make to try to move on from this, even if it's nothing that's directly addressed or talked about. Just kind of this consistency, this exchange with one another. If you then see each other in a physical proximity, it feels very much like it pivots you both into this area of being interested on building a future, working toward the future, rather than continuing to ruminate on what has happened in the past between the two of you. Knight of Cups, this is, again, that idea of something that they bring towards you, something they present to you. Maybe if this isn't even a bit of news or information, it's just, again, that idea of, it may be something simple with this Ace of Cups here on this card. Just kind of that very simple, how's it going? Maybe something that has occurred with you that they hear about, and they express condolences or congratulations even for something, for a major milestone. And it's something that just really reinforces that they still care, that they still think about you, that despite what has happened, there is still this, this ember for you which burns within them. There's these unspoken feelings. There's this mutual kind of draw toward one another that you have been suspecting. Your intuition has been telling you but that's been kind of hidden or obscured from your view. And then there's this element of kind of this revelation of that, this very shocking experience or demonstration, or just a vibration that you pick up through this kind of interaction. To where definitely whatever it is that they say or do, or even just this very basic kind of the foundational effort that they make towards you, it really opens the page toward building towards something, that 10 of Pentacles energy. It's very satisfying. It's good to hear from this person, even if they are the bearer of bad news in some capacity or are bringing something difficult forward to you. It's this idea of the two of you reconnecting in a physical, real world sense, even if it's just exchanging online for a period of time, that it feels that a lot of the pieces are then put back together. This may again be that energy of restoration or vindication. From what they tell you, it allays a lot of your fears. It kind of confirms a lot of what you've been feeling and sensing, even if they're not coming right out directly and telling you, I've been thinking about you, I still have a lot of feelings for you. It's that act, it's that effort, it's that movement forward. Actions speak louder than words is definitely this energy here, to where it's a slow start. It's something where you're going to need to chisel through this. There's going to be effort, but it's something where, there's, with this 10 of Pentacles, there is that possibility of building in a better direction with one another. Either because time has really changed the two of you, you've kind of set out on these different paths, you've, kind of taken your power back, you've grown in different directions. Hindsight being 2020, time really, having eased a lot of these wounds, or just the nature of the interaction, the circumstances, perhaps news or information that they bring you, it changes things. Things that may have been an obstacle before have now been removed. You are able to move forward in a different direction and build toward a stable future together, where in the past it may have been kind of a rocky foundation, things that were uncertain, it was volatile, it wasn't necessarily built on solid ground or on equal footing. There was some kind of separation that needed to occur for the two of you to evolve internally in order to really be able to come back together with this potential of making it work in a solid and stable way with one another. And that feels very much like kind of the potential that is opened up here, that this connection in some way, whether this is a friendship that is reestablished, whether this brings in the energy of completion for you, where what you find out, what you exchange, what happens between the two of you, it closes out this door for you, so you're more fully able to move forward in other ways in your life. Or if this is something where, through kind of that time and that consistency with one another, you are both choosing to kind of give this relationship another chance, give it another go. Maybe it was a false start to begin with, and now the timing is right. It's like right person, right time. Any number of these possibilities, any combination of these scenarios can definitely be sort of embedded in this vibration here, that very crucial first step, that tower moment, that action, that reaching out, that unexpected message from this person, a message of compassion, a message of caring, not a message that comes with hostility, but something which is just, it demonstrates a lot of effort. It's action behind promises. It's the action behind words. This Pentacles energy here, this is also speaking to, again, that slow progression. In terms of timing, that's the slowest moving energy of all the suits in the deck. And we also have, this watery energy with the Knight of Cups and the Eight of Cups, and also, this green, this heart chakra energy, that emotional energy, the watery energy of the moon. That also and even the ice here, kind of that frozen water. Water being almost the second slowest energy in all of these suits, kind of that. That water that just sort of fills the space and is there. The rain which falls very gradually, and then there's an accumulation of inches. The snowfall which must fall over a period of time before there are embankments that are made. So it feels that, it may be very... with that element of the tower, this is a very unexpected communication, but it's something which may take a little it feels like other factors are really at play here before this person will reach out. So it doesn't feel like this is going to be a tomorrow kind of energy, but when it comes in, it's very sudden. It's very unexpected. It's that lightning on the tower. You may not have any indications that this is coming. This is not the energy of there's this buildup or this anticipation. It's very surprising. It's very sudden. It darts out in front of you, almost this idea of the deer that, is just there all of a sudden, or, is just kind of very quick in how it sort of approaches and is made available to you or is brought into your awareness. But again, it doesn't feel like this is somebody who is kind of working up courage necessarily within themselves. Either factors outside of the circumstance in terms of an event needs to take place that they will then inform you of. This can also be somebody who is waiting for proper timing, other things to complete for themselves. It's a timeless reading, so whenever you come across these messages, take them as they resonate. But at the time I'm recording this reading, this is the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrated yesterday. I hope you had an enjoyable time and lots of good food. But we are also, coming up on all of the winter holidays and New Year's and kind of Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all those different celebrations. So lots of things happening in kind of the coming weeks to about month. So that can be a factor as well, where these kind of celebrations, these holidays, these events, these gatherings, these things need to sort of play out. They need to kind of wrap up because this person may be very busy with commitments with family and friends, a lot of travel that's going on, to where this almost feels like in the new year, this person will come forward at some point in the new year, most likely that kind of wintry phase, that wintry kind of period, those first several months of that new year. It's feeling really like kind of Pisces energy, kind of like late Aquarius, early Pisces energy. So kind of sort of middle of February to kind of that beginning period of March. As sort of that kind of that potential of when this person will make that move towards you. But again, it's a very sort of jolting and immediate energy, but it's not just this watershed of love and emotion right away. But it's a very significant effort that they make in your direction as that first kind of point of contact. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see what do they want you to know at this time. Okay, and they say, I've thought about surprising you with a date. So that is definite reinforcement of that element of surprise, this person coming in very quickly, very unexpectedly. And it could be something that they are, again, maybe thinking about that. If this is not the declaration or, the providing of news or information about somebody, it can, or something, it can again just be effort in your direction. But they're thinking about it. It's the timing doesn't necessarily feel right. Again, maybe they have to get through the holiday season, get through the new year. They've got things that they're wrapping up at work, goals or projects or deadlines. But it's this element of a fresh start. There's a very fresh energy in here, working the way through the past, turning the page in a very cutting way, in a very pronounced way, kind of marking a new epoch in this circumstance. And something that they just, very unexpectedly want to just kind of emerge, or that's sort of the vibration of how that will happen. Very unexpectedly, that crack of lightning, that imagery of kind of a full moon that emerges out of a cloudy sky, and you've got this glimpse all of a sudden of this bright light where before you could kind of see nothing, or there were only indications or hints. And they also say, I've been astral projecting to you. So if they know about astral projection, they have practiced this, they have attempted this, it feels almost like dipping their toe in the water. They may be, trying to kind of see where you're at, see where your receptivity is to that, experimenting with these things, and then maybe doing some sleuthing on your social media, kind of snooping around to see if there's any indication, if you post anything. Were you aware of that? Was it effective? Did they reach you? Did you know? Popping up a lot in your dreams as well. Kind of this buildup and anticipation that also reinforces with this huge heart here on the sacred Earth Mother, that through that iciness, through that silence, that wall of time and space that may exist, there are still feelings for you that burn within them, but that they are not at this point in time of being able or ready to express that in a direct way. And so energetically, they're kind of going to other lengths to make that known. They also say, I'm afraid of commitment. So this may have really been a motivator for what sort of propelled them away from this connection in the past. This card also came up in group 1. So if you felt inclined to watch that group, you may want to do so after these messages are finished. There could be additional messages there for you. But this can also tie into, again, that element of hesitating, feeling the time is not right for this. Maybe feeling other factors, other loose ends need to be tied up. A feeling that remaining at a distance from you at this point in time is sort of the best remedy or solution to this. Not wanting to come forth with too much too quickly. Again, kind of that 9 of Wands, that wounded warrior energy, being very kind of timid in their approach with that deer spirit, having boundaries up, recognizing these boundaries within themselves, maybe not even consciously, but just kind of what they are capable of when they come forward. It may be just this very gradual, things that are very platonic in nature, very surface level, kind of avoiding some of that emotional energy, at least in kind of the initial phase of this new exchange between the two of you. And they also say, I don't know what I want. So more of that energy of hesitation, needing to figure things out, needing some of the pieces to align more fully. This can also bring up this energy here with the Tower of somebody where the two of you run into each other and you're face to face and there is literally no choice but to speak with one another. If they've been indecisive, they've been wishy-washy, it can almost be this element of divine intervention where this circumstance must be addressed. There are certain things that need to be kind of wrapped up between the two of you, and to continue in this silence with kind of that heaviness, that iciness, that density of kind of the unanswered questions, the unresolved issues. Something needs to be kind of wrapped up with that. And so the divine may take matters into their own hands. This may not be somebody who kind of works up that courage or has anything to deliver or declare. Of course, kind of exchanging about people or things that occurred in the past. That may be part of kind of that initial sort of very surface level interaction with one another, but it may again be to where kind of the divine has other plans in this circumstance and are going to fast track for the two of you this interaction. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit about this situation. Okay, and we have a wonderful surprise is coming. Something entirely new awaits you. So this is the third confirmation of that energy of surprise, where they said, I've thought about surprising you with a date. We've got the Tower, that lightning bolt, which again is that element of surprise. So the guidance here is really to just try not to look too deeply or pick into sort of when is this going to happen, looking for this person around every corner, sitting on the edge of your seat in anticipation. Continuing to focus on other areas of your life, on what else you have going on. If, with the holiday season, focus on enjoying time with friends and family, or spending time by yourself if you're not one to really celebrate, but maybe you get some time off work. There's other ways to really enjoy the season without participating in, structured kind of holidays or events. It's an opportunity for gratitude. It's an opportunity for reflection. As the year 2022 is wrapping up, or whatever year it is, whenever you see this, if this is years in the future you are watching this, any time the present is a very good time to kind of evaluate where are we at in our lives in general, where are we at in terms of goals and things we may have set out, plans we wanted to accomplish, at the start of the year, the new year, and it's time to check in with these things. Maybe things that didn't necessarily work out, that it's best to just kind of alleviate that burden and pressure, things that we need to revisit or need to apply a little more effort into in order to give them that oomph to really come into fruition. Just putting your focus on things like that allows these energies to kind of develop very organically, being open to that element of surprise when that comes, and kind of also reinforcing the nature of this as, the timing is kind of, it feels like a very loose timing because, again, it will come in very unexpectedly, but it's something that is going to be very much a jolt. I keep being drawn back to that lightning bolt with the tower. It's going to be very unexpected. It's going to provide illumination for you. There's going to be layers to this that is beyond what is said on the surface. It's very telling, it's very profound, and it is a very crucial experience into kind of determining how you view this situation, how you're holding this situation energetically, and also potentially the future that is available to the both of you moving forward, whether that is closure, whether that is friendship, or whether that is a fresh start working toward that kind of harmony and happily ever after in the real world. Sort of now it's right person, right time kind of a vibe. Any of these possibilities may exist for you, but it feels to be a very overall a positive experience, an experience with this person that provides a lot of clarity, a lot of balance, and frees you both from some heaviness of unanswered questions, or even just the idea of what if. So I'm going to get some initials now, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got K, P, O, E, B, X, Q, Z, and F. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings. I have just brought back written readings, and I also offer channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. I chose this piece of Beryl along with these cards, which I'll start with to get an overview about what are the potential next actions towards you and anything that comes through with timing at this point in the reading. We've got Butterfly Spirit, transformation is beautiful. Serendipity. And Jewel within a teardrop, appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. So there's a beautiful vibration here of reconciliation with that idea of spiritual and emotional reconnection. This doesn't feel to just be, a chance meeting with that idea of serendipity, this happy coincidence where the two of you very unexpectedly bump into each other. Hi, how's it going? And then you continue to walk your separate ways. It feels like something that will be very overwhelming, very emotional to the two of you, almost as if the difficulties of the past seem to melt away with ease. You've both undergone some pretty profound transformations of the butterfly spirit during this kind of period of separation or no contact or emotional distance between the two of you. The idea of serendipity, definitely divine intervention is involved here. So this doesn't feel like somebody who's, been sitting and thinking and planning and strategizing and waiting to make their move. No, this is something where each of you have really been focused on yourself, doing that work, that transformation work, stepping into your own, taking away the lessons from this experience with one another, and even in a larger sense, having undergone some transformations in your own life. Maybe as far as working through some difficulties with your family, difficulties and kind of burdens that you'd been carrying within yourselves, a lot of purging that has been taking place, a lot that's been cleared out of the heart space, learning to love yourselves more, stepping into that authenticity, stepping into that truth, transformation of a very profound nature that may have occurred in terms of your lifestyle, even in terms of your physicality. You may have changed lifestyles, gotten, on a health kick in some way. You've changed your perspective on who you are, your purpose in this lifetime, the purpose of your experiences up to this point. And this is really, it feels like this is symbolic of that you are both now in this place of readiness within yourselves to be able to experience one another on a more profound level, closer to that core essence and sort of the ultimate purpose of why you were intended to encounter one another in this lifetime, because you've stepped into that individual energy of being your own forever person, being the yin to your own yang, finding your life purpose, coming into alignment with that, cutting through and discontinuing a lot of repetitive cycles, draining cycles, toxic cycles, cutting away from one-sided relationships, and most importantly, limitations about how you view yourself and what is possible for you in the future, kind of the nature of what your experiences have been, and allowing these things to shape you for the better as opposed to limit you and contain you in kind of this box of lack. And so their next actions, it feels like, will be very much drawn to this sunshine here. It's going to be very happy. They're going to be overjoyed, almost without meaning to be. The two of you, it feels like, you catch sight of each other across a crowded room. You run into each other in an airport. You see each other very unexpectedly, just in a very kind of simple circumstance when you're least expecting it. The two of you run into one another. Circumstances align. Maybe the two of you are attending the same class. You're both at a retreat. You see each other while on vacation. Maybe even for some people, it feels like a very small percentage, but it's important to say this nonetheless, because it feels to be very, again, that element of serendipity is screaming out here. But you're both traveling in a foreign land. You're on vacation somewhere, or you've again gone on a pilgrimage or a retreat, and you encounter one another in this very, this environment that is very removed from the environment you previously dealt with each other and knew each other in. And it's just all this sense of things really really aligning on a universal level. It's such a coincidence. You two can't ignore that. And just based on the nature of kind of those circumstances that are playing out, that vibration, that theme of whatever is going on, it just adds to the magic of this experience with one another. You two have really gone through a lot of personal growth where you are listening to your higher selves. You're very cognizant of and have that dialogue going with spirit and with kind of the world around you, to where you're not going to overlook such an occurrence or such a series of events that lead up to this point of intersection with one another. You're not just going to dismiss that as random, but it's something which you really cherish. It fills you both with a deep sense of gratitude. It feels very much their next actions is an openness to be emotional, an openness to transform this connection on some level, that they show up to you or you encounter them in a very changed energy. They may have gone through some kind of physical glow up, some kind of physical transformation. Spiritually, they have evolved in some way. Their life may be very different from kind of the people and things they were surrounding themselves with and participating in when you were last dealing with them. So it's an emotional reconnection. It's this reconciliation. It's almost this like that best friend that, years or decades can separate the two of you. And then when you encounter one another, you're picking right back up where you left off. It's a very positive energy, though, despite the difficulties that have passed between you previously. You start off on the right foot in this circumstance. And it's a very key ingredient to constructively, sort of with the tools you each have acquired and the vibration you've cultivated within yourselves, to be able to transmute a lot of the difficulties and the heaviness, the feelings of regret or circumstances that have occurred between you in the past, to transmute that in order to elevate this circumstance. Applying the tools that you have really honed within yourselves to, in a very real and practical sense, transmuting any sort of lingering difficulty or sadness or resentment that exists between the two of you. That there's a beautiful possibility here of you stepping into not just re-entering into romance with one another, but a very ascended version of that. This can speak to definitely this counterpart reunion with one another, that you're now at this place within yourselves to be able to experience and express the full fruits of what is possible in this connection with one another. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little more clarification about this for you, as well as some potential timing on this. Although just very immediately, I'm being drawn to the butterfly here, and it's really reminding me of monarch butterflies and kind of their migratory sort of patterns that occur. And autumn is a very significant time. October specifically is a very significant time for that occurring here on kind of the west coast of the United States where I live. And so I know that we are in November, so a lot of you are thinking, wait, we just passed October and I didn't encounter this person. And so again, this is this idea of almost this autumnal energy, this transformational energy. And for some of you, that can mean that this is about 11 months out. Very fitting, because this card, this butterfly spirit, is the number 11. So it does feel that, time it's worth it in this circumstance, that the universe is really picking just the right moment. There may be some important transitions that are happening for each of you in other ways over the next 11 months as well, where it's kind of this buildup, these other kind of pieces that are falling into place, crystallizing more of who you are on that transformational level. And that, again, when you two encounter one another, it will be at the right time and in just the right circumstances. The imagery here on this serendipity card is really reminding me of summertime. So for those of you in the northern hemisphere, we are just about to enter into winter. So summertime feels very far away, but it's really bringing up the month of June as a significant kind of time. So let me see, that would be about 7 months. 6.5 months from now. So again, kind of that element of a little ways out into the future. For those of you who are in the southern hemisphere and you are just about to enter into summertime energy, this can definitely apply for you, but it feels like in a very kind of broad sense, like 6 to 11 months. So in the grand scheme of a lifetime, of a human life, 6 months, a year, this is not a long period of time. But when we're looking at things very immediately and kind of living living day to day, that can feel a bit out on the horizon, a little further than a lot of people would like, but this is a very beautiful energy of reconnection, and really kind of running into one another. There's a lot of magic involved in this, and so it definitely feels time, the time that it will take, the processes that the two of you are kind of going through at this next level of your ascension journey, your personal journey. It's going to be worth the wait. It's very necessary to that idea of the spiritual and emotional reconnection, so that it's not just two people kind of re-entering one another's lives, but that you're able to really touch upon each other and kind of activate and step very immediately into that transformational energy with one another. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little more clarification about their possible next actions towards you, and some more information about timing if that comes out. Okay, so we have the Emperor, which is Aries. Six of Pentacles, which is Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Two of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Page of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Two of Wands, so more of that fire energy. And Seven of Swords, so more air energy. Okay, so with the Seven of Swords, this kind of like sneaky energy, this again is tying into this idea of serendipity, and also in the Two of Swords with this, the crow on here that is blindfolded, and it's kind of, it's closed out. You're not meant to know, is what these cards are all saying to me with this. Allow this to unfold in a very organic way. The divine definitely has a hand in this circumstance. And it's not even sneaky. It almost feels like like a surprise, like things are really being cooked behind the scenes. The two of you are in kind of this very beautiful personal transformation. And that it's going to be very, very surprising when you least expect it. You run into this person. It's something where, your intuition might be really kind of indicate some of this to you, that it's just kind of a big chapter that you're stepping into in your life. But it feels like you'll very much be in the moment. You're going to be very present when you encounter this person, when this kind of serendipitous meeting occurs with one another. It's not going to be anything where somebody's planning to really reach out. It's not going to be something where you're going to be seeing this overwhelm or this abundance of signs and synchronicities. That might have been the case all along. These things may have even trickled away, and you've really redirected that focus onto yourself to where when you run into them, when you encounter this person, it can be very kind of shocking, very surprising. If this is someone you're not running into even literally physically, it may even just be where all of a sudden, on social media, for example, you are recommended, your page is recommended to them as somebody you may know. If you have a social media presence, maybe on YouTube, for example, you come up in their algorithm very unexpectedly. They encounter you, they see you, they're able to interact with you energetically. It's something they weren't anticipating. It's something they weren't looking for. Their attention has been directed elsewhere. Your attention has been directed elsewhere. But this very surprise occurrence with one another motivates them to, with the Six of Pentacles, to reach out, to deliver some kind of message, deliver some kind of truth. Maybe they comment on something. Maybe they like a photo. Maybe they send you a friend request. And it's something where, again, it's a lot of energy of joy. With the Page of Wands, this is a card of good news. It's very joyous, despite what has occurred with one another in the past. This feels for a lot of you like this is somebody where time and space has really been kind of a factor here. And you may have of gone through the full gamut of, being very unhappy about this, being very kind of closed off to this, with the idea of Two of Swords, kind of this blocked communication, this blocked throat chakra. And coming to a place of acceptance about a lot of kind of things that were not going to be resolved, that it's not been such a heavy burden or a heavy weight of kind of this unresolved energy, but you really have taken this opportunity, taken this circumstance to transform yourself in some way. You've used this energy very constructively, very productively, and to your own benefit, and to where, again, there's obviously things then that need to be kind of worked through, any sort of sneakiness, any kind of blocked off communication, anything that was triggered in the past, that, it's not like you can just kind of start back over again and forget everything that happened. But it feels like that very initial point of reconnection, it's a very positive experience for the both of you. It's something which fills one another with a lot of joy, either what is able to be perceived energetically in terms of that glow up, that transformation on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, maybe even physically in terms of lifestyle, or, somebody who's gotten really healthy, somebody who's taken personal responsibility for their own health and well-being. Any number of these things, it's a very positive encounter with one another. It holds a lot of promise. This is somebody who has definitely stepped into their power with the Emperor. You are someone who has stepped into their power. This is two empowered individuals who now have the ability to come back together and build something different, or have a different kind of experience with one another. There's a reciprocity with the Six of Pentacles. There's this equal give and take, where in the past it may have been kind of lopsided. The Emperor, and also with this Two of Wands, this can be kind of this idea of, the passion is ignited, this motivation, this very sunny energy, and then somebody reaches out from afar, maybe again in terms of online, some kind of online communication, or at a distance, maybe again that element of with the globe that is often found on that Two of Wands. You are both in kind of a foreign land, you are in a different location, you've moved, you've relocated, and you didn't expect to run into this person. They didn't expect to run into you, and there you are. There they are, kind of on that same street, in that grocery store, at that retreat, at that historical site, at that cafe. It's, just any number of things. It's very out of place, very unexpected, but a very positive experience that happens. It feels that this person reaches out first. They're that first one to kind of take that sunburst of energy and do something with it. Apply that, give something, extend that hello, move through that crowded space towards you, move out of their way in your direction in order to really spark that conversation, get that communication flowing, and that the two of you really have this ability to very quickly kind of move into this very positive space with one another, touching on what had happened in the past, but it feels like both of you have undergone such a level of transformation that a lot of what happened just it doesn't matter anymore. You're both interested in kind of this forward progress. You both have evolved and moved forward in your own lives in a certain way, to where there's not going to be a lot of rehashing of the past. It's almost like apologies are given, apologies that are owed are delivered, and that it's a very positive experience. How that occurs, the very genuine nature, the very heartfelt, emotional and spiritual nature of that, where it's very obvious that this person is not just using cheap or honeyed words, but they truly have undergone some kind of personal transformation, some kind of a spiritual awakening even, or that they are actively participating in an ascension journey. They are doing the work within themselves. What they say, it really helps to turn the page in this situation. It helps to really balance things out, and the two of you then become more interested in how can we grow from here? How can we build from here, rather than kind of rehashing that old history between you over and over again. So again, in terms of that, that kind of energy with the, of timing, I'm drawn to that Page of Wands again, and that sunshine and kind of that summertime energy. So again, just this more of that, 6 months to 11 months definitely feels like the kind of the timing of this, and the blindfolded crow, you're not really meant to know. There's more of that magic. It's very surprising. There are things that are at play behind the scenes, even things, this is very much tied to your own kind of personal transformation, transformation journey to where, in this group specifically, the attention is being brought back to focus on yourself, continue that transformation, continue moving in the direction you're guided. The nudges you're getting from spirit, the signs, the synchronicities, follow these things towards your own highest good. And it's in the process of doing that the door opens for the two of you to really experience something with one another again, and in this kind of changed capacity. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see what do they want you to know. Okay, and they say some people don't want to see us together, but I don't care. So if there were people that had meddled in this situation in the past, maybe this is friends, maybe this is family, this may have been an ex, or somebody they were even kind of on the outs with, sort of half in, half out of that connection. It feels like this person has really extracted themselves from some codependent situations, from thinking too much or investing too much in the opinions of others. This can be part of that personal transformation. Somebody's really stepped into their power, keeping their own counsel, maybe keeping things very quiet in terms of, their thoughts and feelings about you that still sort of exist at this point in time. Somebody who's really moved into that energy of autonomy. They're thinking for themselves. They're following their heart in different directions in their life. It almost feels like the possibility that opens up between the two of you is sort of the result of this overarching theme for them of closing out of some cycles, stepping toward that highest good, moving toward that life's purpose, rather than seeking approval from others or kind of falling in line or in accordance with what others had deemed sort of the right path for them, the right way, the things they should be prioritizing, focusing on, or having in their life. This person is really marching to the beat of their own drum. They're answering the call of their heart for the first time, perhaps ever in their life. And it is this process within them that helps to put the two of you into alignment for this energy of reconciliation and reconnection. They also say the thought of explaining myself and apologizing scares me. I don't want to see the pain I've caused in your eyes. So somebody who has been reflecting as they have taken their power back, they are also looking at all the ways in which they forfeited that to others. Maybe pulling away, closing things off, blocking you out of their life, or ghosting you because others around them didn't understand the nature of the connection. The two of you may have been very different. You could have been a very free-spirited person, and this individual came from more of kind of a traditional background. And so friends or even family members, even if nothing was said directly, it feels that this was almost a thought or a fear within them. How would you fit into their world? How would you fit into this equation? And so there's a lot of shame about that, about allowing kind of outside opinions or this energy of people pleasing to really interfere in this connection. And as they've been going through the layers of transforming themselves, they've almost been brought back around to kind of these shadows, these distortions within them. They may have had a list of people that they've needed to make amends with, but for whatever reason, they have hesitated kind of including you in that, or reaching out or taking efforts, which may account for kind of that element of divine intervention in this circumstance. That there's a reason that there's been that hesitation. It feels like your reconnection with them, kind of seeing them, kind of just encountering each other very spontaneously in a very serendipitous manner, that it helps to ease that transition through that difficulty, through any kind of sneakiness or shadiness or unfair behavior that may have occurred in the past, to move into that sunniness of possibility and transformation and a new beginning. They also say, I need time. So more kind of reinforcement. This is not most likely somebody that you're going to have that kind of serendipitous run-in with anytime soon. Time is definitely a factor here. 6 to 11 months very specifically was coming up. And it's also, again, this idea of transformation. This person is in this period of their life, or this stage of their life, where a lot is shifting. They've shifted their priorities. They have shifted their goals. They are learning to respect and love themselves more than they did in the past. And they are also recognizing that healing and this work, it's progressive. It's not something that happens overnight. This is somebody also who, if they had let the opportunity between you slip through their fingers in the past, this time around, they will not make the same mistake. They also say, there is so much I want to tell you. So that reinforces the idea of they've thought about explaining themselves and apologizing. With that Six of Pentacles, that energy of giving that apology, balancing out the scales between the two of you. This can also tie into kind of the spiritual unfolding that has happened, changes they have made in their life, a lot of victories, a lot of things that they have released and moved beyond. And it's almost this idea of them wanting to turn to you and share in that happiness and feeling that void where you once were in their life. There's a little less sunshine around them. You feel very remote and distant from them. And it's not a good feeling, but this is somebody who's just trying to press on, somebody who's trying to learn the lessons, take the wisdom out of these experiences rather than dwelling in heaviness, doing what they can with these circumstances, learning the lessons and kind of letting that energy of self-blame or self-punishment, kind of leaving that behind. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now about the situation for you. Okay, rise above the dark days of life. Do not fight them, but have faith that the light will always return. So this is really encouragement to continue on your personal transformation journey. It feels that you and this person are really walking these parallel paths of confronting a lot of shadows, confronting a lot of your own shortcomings or even perceived shortcomings, rising above these things, seeking the lesson, taking the wisdom from experiences, and stepping into that best version of self, making a commitment to self to no longer dim your own light, loving yourself through the good days and the difficult days. And this is really guidance to continue along that path, continue along that trajectory. The two of you really continuing to choose yourselves over and over and over again, as exhausting and as arduous and confusing and difficult as that might be. It is the recipe that leads you to this place of serendipity. You are that light at the end of the tunnel for yourselves, each individually. You are that reward you have been seeking, each individually. And you are actively in this process of kind of transmuting some of those shadows, transmuting that pain related to this situation and other circumstances in your life, actively raising that vibration so that the two of you, when the timing is right in this circumstance, you will meet each other at this elevated vibration. What didn't really have kind of the spiritual foundation to be a long-lasting and sustainable connection of a high vibration, a high caliber previously. You're both in the process of doing that metamorphosis within yourself to be able to sustain that vibration within, first and foremost, in all ways in your life, first and foremost, which then opens the door and makes it possible to include the potential of reconciliation, a new start with this person, in that kind of elevated vibration that the two of you, again, are at this point in time each working to cultivate within. So the guidance is continue that work of loving yourself, of rising beyond, finding the lessons, and kind of moving through anything which doesn't resonate with the picture and the vision of what you want for yourself, in a very grand way and in a very abundance-oriented way in your life, and that helps to magnetize in and put you in that place of receptivity for the very magical new beginning which wants to come in with this person. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got A, V, R, S, D, B, L, and X. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings. I have just brought back written readings, and I also offer channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.